You know, usually when we look at sports simulations or these what-if scenarios, it can feel a little sterile. It's just numbers on a spreadsheet, running in the background of some server.
Right, it's abstract.
But I have to say, looking at the data coming out of Week 8 of the Golden Era League, this feels messy. It feels visceral.
It feels like we crashed a time machine into a football stadium.
Exactly. We are at the perfect halfway point. Week 8 is in the books. And if you're just joining us for this deep dive, you have to remember the stakes here. We aren't just comparing stats on a page.
No.
We have 16 of the absolute best teams from the 1980s and 16 from the 1990s, and they are all occupying the same timeline, playing a full, brutal 16-game season.
And I think the assumption going in, the common wisdom, was that the 90s teams...
Bigger, faster, stronger.
Exactly. That they would just steamroll the 80s squads, the evolution of the athlete and all that.
Right. That's the modern bias, isn't it?
Yeah.
We just assume everything evolves in a straight upward line.
But if you look at the state of the union right now, at this halfway point, that is absolutely not what is happening. Not at all.
No. In fact, it's chaos. We're seeing this explosion of passing yards that, honestly, it doesn't even make sense for the areas these teams came from.
Yeah.
But we're also seeing this purple shadow being cast over the entire league.
The Vikings.
The 98 Vikings. But before we even get to them, before we crown anybody, I want to talk about the feeling of the league itself. Because you look at the AFC standings, and parity doesn't even do it justice.
It's a bloodbath. It's a 14-car pileup on the interstate.
It is. You have legendary teams with Hall of Famers all over the roster, and they're just struggling to stay above .500.
Well, that's exactly what happens when strength meets strength every single week. There are no bye weeks on this schedule.
None.
Every Sunday, you are lining up against a Hall of Fame quarterback or a legendary defense or a running back who's going to change the game. And that, I think, leads us right into our mission for today.
Yeah, let's set the table.
We have to cut through all that noise. We have 8 weeks of hard, undeniable data. We need to figure out who is actually a contender and who is just, living off their historical reputation.
And we absolutely have to talk about the game of the century.
I still can't believe that scoreline. I've looked at the box score a dozen times, and it still doesn't seem real.
A 45-45 tie between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I mean, we are going to deconstruct exactly how that happened later on. It is a statistical anomaly that, frankly, it just shouldn't exist in football.
It really shouldn't.
But first, let's set the rules of engagement here, because I think a lot of the anxiety we're seeing from these fan bases, and you can see it in the play calling from the coaches, it all stems from the playoff format.
It is an unforgiving bracket. You have to remember, we aren't doing the modern expanded playoff thing.
Where half the league gets in.
No participation trophies here. This is old school, extremely old school.
So what does that mean?
3 division winners per conference. That's it. And then only 3 wildcard teams. That makes 6 teams total per conference. 12 teams in the whole dance.
So if you do the math on that, that means 20 teams are going home after week 16.
Exactly. 20 teams with incredible talent are packing their bags. And when you look at the standings right now, especially in the AFC, being 5-2 might not even guarantee you a comfortable spot.
Not even close.
You have teams that are playing championship-level football, but because they're in a division with another juggernaut, they are fighting for their lives in that wild card race from the jump. Every single quarter matters.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start in the NFC, where one team isn't just winning. They are seemingly playing a different sport entirely.
Yeah, let's talk about the 98 Minnesota Vikings.
The juggernaut of the North.
That's a good way to put it.
They are sitting at 6-1. That's an 85.7% winning percentage. But it's not just the record, is it? It's the sheer dominance.
It's the margin of victory. It's who they're beating and how they're beating them. They just played the 99 Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 8.
Okay, so let's pause on that for a second. The 99 Bucks.
Right. Think about that team. That is Warren Sapp. That is Derek Brooks. That is John Lynch. That is the Tampa 2 defense that literally defined an era of football.
A defense designed specifically to prevent big plays down the field.
That is its entire philosophy. Keep everything in front of you. And the Vikings beat them 33-9.
They absolutely dismantled them. When you beat a defense of that caliber with that many Hall of Famers by 24 points, you aren't just winning a football game.
No, you are sending a message to the rest of the timeline. You're putting everyone on notice.
So what is the engine here? Is it as simple as throw it to Randy Moss and pray? Because I feel like that's the lazy narrative people have about this team.
It is the lazy narrative, and it's completely wrong. I mean, yes, Moss is a huge part of it, But look at Randall Cunningham's numbers. He is having a complete renaissance.
It's unbelievable.
A 108.2 quarterback rating, which is second in the entire league. He's thrown 22 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions.
Which is incredible volume. But usually high volume like that comes with more mistakes, right?
Exactly. You expect a guy throwing that many touchdowns to have, 10 or 12 picks by now. But here's the key stat for me. His completion percentage is over 60%.
60%.
Yeah.
For a vertical passing offense.
It's absurdly high. Usually if your offense is built on throwing deep, you're happy completing 50, maybe 55% of your passes. Cunningham is combining volume with precision.
So how are they doing it? What's the secret sauce?
It's the Moss effect, but probably not in the way people think. It's not just about Moss catching the ball. It's about gravity.
Gravity.
Yes. Randy Moss has so much gravitational pull on the defense that the safeties are terrified. They're lining up 20, 25 yards deep before the ball is even snapped.
Because they know if they let him get behind them, it's 6 points. Game over.
Instantly, which leaves the entire middle of the field
Wide open.
Yeah, completely vacant. So now you have Chris Carter, who might be one of the best route runners in history, working underneath against linebackers who have zero safety help over the top.
He must be licking his chops.
Oh, he is. And you have Jake Reed finding soft spots in the zone. Cunningham isn't just chucking it deep every play. He is taking exactly what the defense gives him. If you bail out to stop Moss, he cars you up for 12 yards a pop underneath. If you creep up to stop the short game,
Moss goes over the top for a touchdown.
it is the ultimate pick-your-poison offense. And right now, absolutely nobody has the antidote.
There is another element to this team, though, and I think it gets overlooked because the offense is just so flashy. The kicking game.
Gary Anderson?
I know. A deep dive into special teams doesn't exactly sound sexy. But in a league this competitive, where we're seeing ties and one-point games all over the place.
It matters immensely. It's the difference between 6-1 and maybe 4-3. And Gary Anderson has not missed.
Not once.
Not a single time. He is 24 for 24 on extra points. He is 18 for 18 on field goals.
He is literally perfect through 8 games.
Think about what that does for a play caller, for a head coach. If you cross the other team's 35-yard line, you essentially have points on the board. Guaranteed.
It takes so much pressure off Cunningham. He doesn't have to force a throw on 3rd and 8 from the 30-yard line because he knows Anderson is absolutely automatic.
It's a massive psychological advantage that just compounds over the course of a game.
So, okay. The Vikings are clearly the kings of the NFC Central. But let's move west. Because while the Vikings are dominating, the NFC West is turning into this fascinating philosophical war.
It really is.
We have the 84 San Francisco 49ers and the 99 St. Louis Rams. Both of them are sitting at 5-2. It's a dead heat.
This is the matchup I have been studying the most because it's a perfect example of styles make fights.
We hear those terms thrown around all the time. West Coast offense, greatest show on turf. But for you listening at home, someone who maybe doesn't have a coaching degree, what are we actually looking at here? What is the core difference?
Great question. So let's look at the 84 49ers first. This is the Bill Walsh West Coast offense in its absolute purest form.
The original.
The original. And it's all based on horizontal spacing. The core idea is to use the pass as a substitute for the run. Short, quick, high percentage throws. Timing is everything. The quarterback takes 3 steps and that ball is gone.
It's surgical.
It's surgical. It is about rhythm and controlling the clock and just methodically moving down the field.
And the Rams.
The 99 Rams are the ultimate evolution of the Air Coryell system. It is vertical. It's the polar opposite.
They want to stretch the field lengthwise.
Exactly. They want to send 3 or 4 guys deep at the same time and force your defense to cover every single inch of grass from the line of scrimmage all the way to the end zone. It is aggressive. It is fast. It is designed for explosive plays.
And the quarterbacks for each team reflect that philosophy perfectly. Let's talk about Joe Montana first.
Montana is the steady hand. He's the CEO of the offense. His rating is a solid 93.1. He's got 15 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions.
Those aren't flashy video game numbers.
No, but they are winning numbers. He manages the game beautifully. He almost never puts the ball in danger. When you watch the 84 Niners, you see a machine that systematically dismantles you piece by piece.
And then there's Kurt Warner.
The gunslinger paradox.
I love that title.
No.
Because looking at his stat line, it is just baffling. He is 3rd in the league in passing yards with 2,100. He has 18 touchdowns. The guy can score from anywhere on the field.
But here's the number that would keep me up at night if I'm the Rams head coach.
The interceptions?
17 interceptions.
17 in just 8 games.
That is more than 2 interceptions per game. He leads the entire league in turnovers, and it's not even close.
So how are they 5-2? I mean, honestly, how do you turn the ball over that much and keep winning football games?
Because the offense is so ridiculously explosive that they can actually outscore their own mistakes. It's incredible.
They're just built different.
Warner is basically betting that he can score 40 points, so if he gives the other team the ball 3 times, doesn't matter, because he's going to get it back and throw a 70-yard touchdown anyway.
Wow.
I mean, look at Week 8. They just put up 41 points on the Titans. Warner threw 4 touchdowns.
Right.
But he threw 2 interceptions in that same game. It is the definition of high-variance football. It's thrilling to watch, but it's got to be terrifying to coach.
That is the big question for me then. Can you survive that kind of play in the playoffs?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? In the regular season against, average teams, you can absolutely get away with it.
Sure.
But imagine doing that against the 98 Vikings defense. Or if they have to go on the road and play the 85 Bears in January. If Warner throws 2 or 3 picks against those teams, the Rams are going home, period.
He is feasting on yards, but he is starving his team of possession.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Now, lurking right behind these 2 heavyweights in the West is a team I feel like we keep forgetting about. The 98 Atlanta Falcons.
The Dirty Birds.
They are 5-3. They are right there in the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
But they play such a different style compared to the 49ers and the Rams.
Completely different. While Montana is brinking and dunking and Warner is launching bombs down the field, the Falcons are they're bludgeoning people.
It's the Jamal Anderson show.
100%. He has 853 rushing yards already. He's on pace for, 1,700 yards? They are a ground and pound team.
The Dirty Bird dance is getting a lot of airtime this season.
It is. And their philosophy works. They shorten the game. They control the clock. They keep the opposing offense on the sideline, which is the best way to defend them.
Right. The best defense is to keep Kurt Warner on the bench.
Precisely. The Falcons are built to do exactly that. They are the team that nobody wants to see in that wild card round because they are just going to beat you up physically for 60 minutes.
Okay, let's slide over to the NFC East. If the West is this heavyweight prize fight, the East feels a bit like, a bar brawl where everyone is stumbling around.
That is a very polite way of putting it.
It's a mess.
It is the weakest division in the conference right now, and I don't think it's particularly close. You have the 91 Washington squad leading it, but they are only 4-3.
And then you have the 95 Dallas Cowboys. This is supposed to be the team of the 90s, right? The triplets. Right. Aikman, Irvin, Emmitt Smith. And they are sitting at .500. They are 4-4. What in the world is going on in Dallas?
It is baffling. It really is. Because if you look at the individual pieces, they seem to be working. Emmitt Smith is doing his part. He is an absolute touchdown machine.
He still got it.
Oh, yeah. He has 11 touchdowns and 780 yards rushing. Just in Week 7, he ran for 200 yards and 2 scores against the Panthers.
So the running game is clearly there.
It is, but the consistency isn't. They have these inexplicable losses. They lose to the Giants, they lose to the Eagles. They just cannot string wins together. And in this league, with the playoff format we just discussed, 4-4 is incredibly dangerous territory.
You're on the outside looking in.
Way on the outside. It just feels like they're relying on their talent to bail them out of bad situations rather than executing a game plan.
And in the Golden Era League, talent isn't enough.
Not even close, because everyone has talent. You need cohesion. You need discipline. And Dallas doesn't seem to have it right now.
All right, let's cross the aisle. Let's head over to the AFC. If the NFC is top-heavy with the Vikings, the AFC just feels like a complete arms race. Yeah. Everyone has a weapon.
It really is. The AFC is being defined by the quarterback position. We're seeing a passing explosion over here that rivals anything in the modern game.
And right now, the king of the AFC, statistically at least, is Peyton Manning and the 99 Indianapolis Colts.
They're sitting at 6-2, leading the AFC East. And Manning is just putting on a clinic. He leads the entire league in passing yards with 2,454 and attempts with 303. They are just throwing the ball constantly.
Is it just empty volume, though? Or is it efficiency?
It's chemistry. It's pure chemistry. The connection between Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison is the deadliest combo in football right now. We talked about Randy Moss earlier, but what Harrison is doing is just as impressive, just in a different way.
Look at his numbers. He has 938 yards and 6 touchdowns in just 8 games.
Do the math on that. He's averaging over 117 receiving yards per game.
That is unheard of for this period.
It is. And the scary part for opposing defenses is that the Colts aren't one-dimensional. You can't just drop 8 guys into coverage to stop Harrison.
Because of Edgerrin James.
Because of Edge. He is a true, legitimate dual threat. He has 781 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns himself.
So as a defensive coordinator, what do? What's the game plan?
You're stuck. If you load the box with 8 guys to stop James, Manning hits Harrison on a quick slant for 20 yards. If you play a soft coverage to take away the pass, James runs a draw play for 12 yards. The Colts offense forces you to play perfect football for 4 quarters, or they will score on you.
But breathing right down their necks in that AFC East is a very familiar face. The '84 Miami Dolphins. Dan Marino.
This is the narrative I absolutely love. It's the prototype versus the Polish.
Can you explain that?
Marino is the prototype for the modern pocket passer. The quick release, the arm strength, standing in there and delivering, and he is right on Manning's heels. A 5-2 record, 2,130 yards, 18 touchdowns. He is not backing down.
It's fascinating to watch the '84 air attack go toe-to-toe with the '99 Colts offense. How do they compare schematically?
They are remarkably similar, actually, which is a testament to Marino. Both rely on incredibly quick decisions and release time. Marino's release is still the quickest thing I have ever seen on film.
It's a blur.
It is. He doesn't need mobility because the ball is gone before the pass rush can even get there. The '84 Dolphins were basically playing '90s football a decade early. Seeing them compete against the actual '90s teams proves just how far ahead of his time Dan Marino was.
Okay, and then we have to talk about the surprise of the season. I don't think anyone, and I mean absolutely anyone, had this on their bingo card.
Not a soul.
The '86 Cleveland Browns are 6-2 and leading the AFC Central.
This is the feel-good story of the year, isn't it? The '86 Browns.
They are holding off a very tough, very good Bengals team. How are they doing it? They don't have the same star power as the Colts or the Dolphins.
Grit. Pure, unadulterated, old-school football grit. And Bernie Kosar. Look, Bernie Kosar is not going to win a beauty contest with his throwing motion. It's awkward, it's sidearm, it looks like he's falling down half the time he throws the ball.
It's not pretty.
But the man is an absolute football genius. He is quietly putting up massive numbers. Remember week 2 against the Jets? He threw for 430 yards.
430 yards.
And just this past week, in week 8, they edged out the Chiefs 34-27. Kosar threw for 307 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game.
And that was against a Chiefs team led by Joe Montana.
Exactly. The Browns are winning the close games. They are winning shootouts. That Week 8 win proves they aren't just some plodding defensive team from the 80s. They can score with the big boys. They are 6-2 for a reason, and that reason is Bernie Kosar.
Speaking of scoring, let's go to the AFC West. The '98 Denver Broncos are also 6-2. And while John Elway is the legend, the story here, week in and week out, is Terrell Davis.
TD is on a historic pace. We are 8 games in, and he already has 13 rushing touchdowns.
13. That
projects to 26 touchdowns for the entire season. He leads the league in rushing yards with 905. But here is the stat that just blows my mind every time I look at it. He is averaging 5.7 yards per carry.
That is basically a first down every 2 times he touches the ball.
It fundamentally changes the geometry of the game. If you can get almost 6 yards on first downs every single time, your entire playbook is wide open. It takes so much pressure off of John Elway.
Elway doesn't have to be Superman every single week.
He doesn't. He doesn't have to throw for 300 yards every game because TD is completely unstoppable.
Although, to your point, Elway did just throw for 356 yards in Week 8 against the Packers.
Right. And that is exactly why the Broncos are so terrifying. If you somehow manage to sell out and stop Davis, which, by the way, nobody has really done yet, Elway can still turn back the clock and beat you with his arm. They have a counterpunch for absolutely everything you throw at them.
Okay, we have teased it long enough. We have to do this. We have to talk about Week 8, the game that broke the scoreboard, the game that defied all logic. The '95 Pittsburgh Steelers versus the '88 Cincinnati Bengals.
I have studied football for a long, long time. I have broken down thousands of games. I don't think I have ever seen a stat line quite like this one.
The final score was 45-45, a tie.
90 total points scored, and no winner. It feels wrong.
Defense was purely optional in this game. It was a track meet. It was a shootout in the absolute truest sense of the word.
It was like watching a tennis match where both players just forgot how to serve.
Yep.
Just back and forth, haymaker after haymaker for 5 full quarters.
Let's look at the quarterbacks because the numbers are they're video game stuff. Coomer season for the '88 Bengals.
Boomer was unconscious, just completely in the zone. 26 of 47 for 449 yards and 4 touchdowns. He was slinging it all over the field, finding holes in that Steelers zone blitz that shouldn't have been there.
And on the other side, Neil O'Donnell for the 95 Steelers. Now, O'Donnell is usually known as more of a game manager, right?
He is, but in this game, he had to be Dan Marino. He had no choice. He went 32 of 53 for 396 yards and 4 touchdowns of his own.
So combined, that is over 800 yards of passing and 8 touchdowns just through the air.
It's insanity.
And the receivers. We have to mention Eddie Brown for Cincinnati.
Eddie Brown had the game of his life. 6 catches for 206 yards.
Wait, hold on. 206 yards on just 6 catches.
Do the math. That is over 34 yards per catch. Every single time he touched the ball, it was an explosive, game-changing play. It was a highlight reel performance for the ages.
And Andre Hastings for Pittsburgh had 147 yards himself. It was just back and forth. But let's talk about the result. A tie. 45-45. What does this do to the standings? Because in that AFC Central, things are incredibly tight.
This tie complicates everything. It just throws a massive wrench into the math for the playoffs. Cincinnati is now sitting at 5-2-1.
Which puts them just half a game behind Cleveland, who is 6-2.
Exactly. And Pittsburgh, they fall to 2-4-1, which probably ends their season, realistically.
So does the tie help or hurt Cincinnati in the long run?
That's a tricky question. Psychologically, it hurts. You score 45 points and you don't win. That has to feel like a loss in the locker room.
Oh, for sure.
But mathematically, it might actually save them. In a crowded wildcard race, having 2 losses and a tie is better than having 3 losses. A tie is essentially a half win.
I see.
So when we get to week 16 and we're comparing records, that little 1 in the tie column might be the difference maker that sneaks them into the playoffs over a team that's 10-6.
It is just wild. Imagine being in that locker room after the game. You're exhausted. You've played 5 quarters of brutal football. You broke offensive records, and you walk away with a draw.
It's empty. It's got to be the worst feeling in sports. But for us watching, it was the game of the century.
Let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about individual accolades. We are halfway through the season. The MVP race is really heating up. We mentioned Cunningham earlier, but who else is in the conversation for the Offensive Player of the Year?
You have to start with Terrell Davis. You just have to. Like I said, 13 touchdowns in 8 games. He is the engine of a 6-2 team. If he keeps up this pace, he's having one of the greatest running back seasons in the history of the sport.
The value he provides to that Broncos team is just immeasurable, isn't it?
It is. But the counterargument is Peyton Manning.
Right.
Manning is on pace for nearly 5,000 passing yards. In this era, with these rules, that is absolutely astronomical. He is carrying that Colts team on his back. If they win the AFC East, which it looks like they will, Manning has a very, very strong case.
Now, what about a dark horse? Can a non-quarterback, non-running back win it? Can a receiver win it?
It's tough, but if anyone can, it's Marvin Harrison this year. He is averaging 117 yards per game. If he breaks 1,800 yards and keeps scoring touchdowns, he has to be in the conversation. He is the most dominant player at his position right now. He is making Pro Bowl cornerbacks look silly every single week.
Let's flip to the defensive side of the ball. We love offense, but sacks and turnovers change games. Who are the sack masters right now?
You have to start with Bruce Smith of the 90 Bills. Now, the Bills as a team are struggling a bit. They're sitting at 4-4. But Bruce Smith, he is a one-man wrecking crew. He leads the league with 9 sacks.
He's just unblockable off the edge.
He really is. He is single-handedly keeping them in games. Every time the Bills need a critical stop on 3rd down, Bruce Smith is in the backfield disrupting the play.
And right behind him, who's in the hunt?
2 guys right on his heels, Lester Archambault from the 98 Falcons and Pat Swilling from the 91 Saints. Both of them have 8 sacks. These guys are elite disruptors. In a league with this much passing, having a guy who can get to the quarterback without you having to blitz is the most valuable asset you can possibly have on defense.
Speaking of defense, let's talk turnovers. Or maybe let's use this to talk about the lack of offense for one specific tragic team.
Uh-oh.
The interception leader in the entire league is Ray Crockett from the 91 Lions. He has 7 picks.
This is the ultimate irony of the season, isn't it? The Lions have the best ball hawk in the entire league. Ray Crockett is playing out of his mind, 7 interceptions in 8 games.
He is practically playing wide receiver for the other team's quarterback.
Yeah.
He is giving his offense the ball back constantly in great field position.
And yes.
And yet, the 91 Detroit Lions are 0-8. They're the only winless team left in the league.
That is just tragic. It's a football tragedy.
It highlights just how completely dysfunctional that Lions offense is. They were scoring only 15.7 points per game while giving up 28. even with Barry Sanders in the backfield.
And Barry's doing his job. He has 522 yards, averaging 4.4 a carry. That's respectable.
It is. But the passing game is non-existent. The offensive line is porous. It's a complete roster construction failure. You have an elite Hall of Fame running back and an elite ball-hawking corner and absolutely nothing in between.
So Crockett gets a pick, gives them the ball at the 50.
And the offense goes 3-and-out, punts, and the defense is right back on the field, exhausted. It's exhausting just thinking about it.
Let's look at the other turnover kings, the ones on the offensive side. We already hammered Kurt Warner with his 17 interceptions, but he isn't alone in being reckless with the football.
No. Dan Fouts of the 81 Chargers, he has 14 interceptions.
And Ken O'Brien of the 85 Jets, my goodness, he threw 3 interceptions in Week 8 alone.
Despite throwing for 431 yards in that same game.
It's this gunslinger mentality run amok. These quarterbacks are forcing throws because they feel the pressure to keep up with the high-scoring offenses around the league. When you see the Vikings putting up 30 or the Rams putting up 40, you feel like you have to force that pass into double coverage to keep pace.
And that is where the back-breaking interceptions come from.
Every single time.
We have touched on the Lions, but who are the other big disappointments? The basement dwellers of the league.
Well, the 93 Chiefs are sitting at 2-5. And this one is tough to watch. This is Joe Montana, but it's not the 84 Montana we talked about earlier.
Yeah, this is the older Chiefs version of Joe Montana.
Yeah.
The Twilight Years Montana.
Right. And he is struggling. It is almost sad to watch 84 Montana soaring with the 49ers, looking like an MVP candidate, while 93 Montana is just fighting for his life in Kansas City.
It's the multiverse theory gone wrong for Kansas City fans. They're watching their heroes succeed, but it's on another channel.
That's a great way to put it. They just lost a heartbreaker to Cleveland in Week 8. They are competitive. They aren't getting blown out every week like the Lions, but they just can't close out games. They lack that finishing instinct.
And what about the 96 Panthers?
Ooh, 1-6. Kerry Collins and that offense just cannot generate any momentum. They are sitting at the bottom of a very tough NFC West. And honestly, they look like they don't belong on the same field as the Rams or the 49ers right now. They're just being outclassed schematically and athletically week after week.
All right, we've analyzed the past. We've looked at the first 8 weeks. Now we have to predict the future. We have 8 weeks of football left. This is where the rubber meets the road. Who is making the playoffs? Let's start with the NFC.
Okay, let's do it. Let's look at the division winners first. In the NFC Central, it's the 98 Vikings.
That's the easy one.
It's a lock. They are 6-1. They have the tiebreaker over Green Bay already. They look completely unstoppable. I think they lock that division up by like Week 14.
In the West, this is the tough one.
This is the really tough one. 49ers or Rams? I'm going to go with the 99 Rams to win the division.
Wow, even with the interception.
Even with the interceptions. I know I criticized Warner earlier, and I stand by that concern for the playoffs. But for the regular season, I think their sheer offensive firepower is just slightly more explosive than the 84 49ers. I think they edge them out for the division title based on pure scoring potential.
And the NFC East?
91 Washington, by default.
Somebody has to win it.
Somebody has to win that division, and Washington is the most consistent of a very mediocre bunch. They run the ball well, they play decent defense. In that division, that should be enough.
So that leaves 3 wild card spots in the NFC. Who gets in?
The 84 49ers are an absolute lock. Even if they don't win the division, they're 5-2 and playing great football, they're in. The 96 Packers, sitting at 5-3, I think they get in.
Brett Favre.
You can never, ever count out Brett Favre in a tight race. He'll make some magic happen.
And for that last spot,
Oh,
it's a fight.
it is. But I'm looking at the 98 Falcons. They're 5-3, lurking in the shadows. I think they sneak in. Their physical running game travels well late in the season. When the weather gets colder in December, you want Jamal Anderson carrying the rock, not a high-flying passing attack that relies on timing.
What about the Dallas Cowboys? Can they turn it around from 4-4?
I just don't think so. I don't see it. Emmitt Smith needs help. Unless Troy Aikman stops turning the ball over and their defense steps up significantly, I think the Cowboys are going to miss the cut. They were just far too inconsistent.
Okay, moving to the AFC. Give me your predictions.
AFC East, give me the 99 Colts. Peyton Manning is on a mission. He is playing at a level that just demands a division title. AFC Central, I'm sticking with the surprise team, the 86 Browns.
Really? You think they can hold off the Bengals?
I do. They have the lead now, and they have the grit. They know how to win ugly, and that's what you need in that division.
AFC West.
The 98 Broncos. Terrell Davis is not slowing down. They are too balanced, too well coached. They win that division by 2 games.
And the wild cards. This is where it gets crazy. It is so crowded in the AFC.
Very, very crowded. I like the 84 Dolphins. That offense is just too good to miss the postseason. Marino will throw them into the playoffs. I also think the 88 Bengals get in.
Interesting.
That tie-in Week 8, as we discussed, might actually be the very thing that saves them mathematically when all is said and done.
And for that final coveted spot.
I'm going with the 81 San Diego Chargers.
The Chargers. They're 4-3 right now. Dan Fouts has 14 interceptions.
I know. It's a risk.
Oh.
But Fouts is also throwing for a ton of yards. If he can cut down on the interceptions just a little bit, they have the offensive firepower to outscore the Jets or the Bills for that last spot. I didn't trust their offense more than I trust the Bills' offense right now.
Okay, before we get out of here, hit me with a bold prediction for the second half of the season. Something spicy.
You want a bold? Okay. I think Kurt Warner gets benched.
Whoa, wait. Benching the league's third leading passer, the leader of a 5-2 team. That is bold.
Or at the very least, the coach reins him in so significantly it's like he's benched. He cannot sustain 2 interceptions per game and win a championship. Something has to give in St. Louis. If he throws 3 picks in another game, I think you might see Trent Green, or you might see a massive shift to running the ball 40 times a game.
Wow, okay. Do you have a second one for me?
I do. The 91 Lions go 0-16.
Oof, that's a tough one.
I just don't see a win on their schedule. I've looked. The morale is completely broken. The offense is anemic. I think they run the table in the wrong direction and make history for all the wrong reasons.
That is a grim outlook for Detroit. But frankly, watching them play every week, it's really hard to argue with you.
It's the reality of the Golden Era League. It is absolutely unforgiving.
Before we wrap up, let's look ahead. Week 9 is coming up. And the stats we have seen in this first half, the explosion of passing, the dominance of running backs like Davis and Anderson, it really highlights the evolution of the game, but also the similarities.
It does. It is absolutely fascinating to see the 80s passing attacks, like the ones led by Fouts and Marino, holding their own and even thriving against the modern 90s offenses of Manning and Warner.
We tend to think of the game as evolving linearly, getting better year after year.
Right, but great quarterback play transcends eras. Dan Marino would be an absolute superstar in any decade you dropped him into.
Absolutely. The 84 Dolphins look just as modern and explosive as the 99 Colts when they are clicking. It proves that innovation isn't just a recent invention in football.
And that is the absolute beauty of this deep dive. We get to see that evolution play out on the same field. We get to see the clash of philosophies, the clash of titans every single Sunday.
Well, that wraps up our mid-season report. The first half was pure chaos ties, records being broken, legends falling, and I have a feeling the second half is going to be even crazier.
I can't wait. The playoff race is going to come down to the wire. Week 16 is going to be a collective heart attack for about 10 different fan bases.
Keep your stats handy, because the second half kickoff is coming. We'll see you next week for another deep dive.
See you then.